Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into TestNG, a really powerful framework that's all about bringing some serious order and intelligence to your Java testing. So if you've ever felt like you're just drowning in a sea of chaotic, totally unreliable test scripts, you know exactly how frustrating that is. Let's dive in and find the solution. So what is TestNG really? Well, the name stands for Test Next Generation, and you know what? It's designed to solve these exact problems. We're going to frame this whole journey as the testing gauntlet. Think of each TestNG feature as a powerful new tool you get to conquer a specific challenge. Okay, let's start with level 1, our first big challenge. How do we bring structure and some predictable order to a big, messy pile of test scripts? The secret sauce here is something called annotations. Honestly, you can just think of them as commands. By adding these simple little labels, like @test, to your methods, you're literally telling TestNG what to do and when to do it. And those @before and @after annotations, absolutely crucial. They create a clean, predictable slate for every single test, like, automatically opening a fresh browser before a test and then closing it right after. Now, this is where you really start to take control. By default, TestNG just runs your tests alphabetically, which can be total chaos, right? But with this little priority attribute, you get to dictate the exact sequence. This ensures a critical step like logging in always runs after the browser has opened. It's such a simple way to enforce a logical workflow. And it gets even better. TestNG adds another layer of organization with groups. You can just tag any test with a group name, like smoke for your quick sanity checks, or maybe regression for the full deep dive testing. And this is a game changer for your CI/CD pipeline. Imagine, you just pushed a small code change. You can tell your system, hey, just run the smoke group, and boom, you get feedback in minutes instead of waiting hours. That kind of targeted execution is a massive time saver. All right, let's level up. Now we're going to tackle a new problem, hard-coded data. The stuff that makes your tests super rigid and just a pain in the neck to maintain. For this, TestNG gives you two amazing tools. Over on the left, you've got @parameters. It's perfect for simple config stuff you define in an XML file. But on the right, that's @dataprovider. That's the real powerhouse. It lets you feed whole sets of complex data from your Java code directly into a single test method. Just think about it. Imagine you're testing the login for a banking app, or even a site like Facebook. Instead of writing 10 different tests for 10 different users, you can write one test method and use an @dataprovider to run it 10 times, each with a different username and password. It's just incredibly efficient. Okay, on to level 3. And here, we're facing our trickiest opponents yet. Tests that have to run in a super strict sequence, and those just infuriating tests that fail for no good reason. For those sequential flows, TestNG offers dependencies. With depends on methods, you're basically creating an unbreakable chain. If the login step fails, TestNG is smart enough to just skip the make transaction step. It completely prevents those horrible cascading failures. This is absolutely essential for something like a flight booking or an e-commerce checkout flow. But what about those tests that just seem to have a mind of their own? We call them flaky tests. You know the ones. They pass 1 minute, fail the next, usually because of something unpredictable like network lag or a slow loading animation on a web page. So, how do you fight that randomness? Manually hitting rerun every time a test fails in your pipeline? That's not a real solution. It's not scalable, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose of automation. There has to be a smarter way, right? And there is. TestNG has this built-in defense mechanism called the retry analyzer. By implementing this simple little interface and attaching it to your test, you're giving TestNG a new rule. Hey, if this fails, don't just give up. Try it again a couple more times. This one feature can literally rescue a flaky test from failure and just dramatically improve the stability of your entire test suite. All right, it's time for the final level. We're putting everything we've learned together. Let's see how TestNG becomes the central engine in a real professional automated testing pipeline. So in the real world, TestNG doesn't just work by itself. It's designed to fit perfectly with other industry standard tools. You've got Selenium driving the browser, Maven managing the build, Jenkins automating the whole thing, and right in the middle, you have TestNG, acting as the intelligent core that orchestrates the entire process. And here's a perfect example of that. This is a simple Selenium test to search for a product on Amazon. Just look at how those testng annotations, at before method, at test, and at after method, give it all that structure for setting up the browser, doing the action, and then cleaning everything up. So how do you kick it all off? Well, you integrate it with your build process through Maven. By setting up the Surefire plugin in your pom.xml file, you can then run your entire testng suite with just one simple command, mvn test, and this is exactly how it's done in professional CI/CD pipelines. Finally, after everything's run, you need to see the results. TestNG gives you some simple HTML reports right out of the box, which is nice. But for a more professional touch, it can integrate with advanced tools like extent reports to create these rich, visual dashboards that are perfect for sharing with your managers and stakeholders. And there you have it. You've made it through the gauntlet. You've seen how TestNG can take you all the way from just chaotic scripts to a controlled, robust, and totally professional framework. So let's just recap the power-ups you've picked up along the way. To solve chaos, you've got annotations and priority. To get rid of hard-coded data, you've got data providers. To defeat those flaky tests, you have the retry analyzer. And to bring it all home, you have that seamless CI/CD integration. See? These aren't just features. They are direct solutions to some of the biggest headaches in automated testing. And here's a crucial tip, especially if you're in a technical interview. Don't just talk about one tool. Show that you get the bigger picture. How TestNG fits together with Selenium, Maven, and Jenkins. That's what really shows you understand how frameworks work. So now the question really is for you. Whether it's finally organizing your tests, making them data-driven, or stabilizing a flaky UI flow, you now have the tools. So, what testing challenge are you going to conquer first?